Morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. We welcome you again to the Global Experts podcast and the interviews where we talk about real conversation that really matter in the world of aging, caregiving, dignity of elder care. I am your host, Dr. Mrigna Nagraj, and with me, my co-host, Mr. Pankaj is there. So, baton on to you, Pankaj.
Thank you, Dr. Mrigna, and it is a pleasure to have Harshad Deshpande from Pune. It is not only Harshad Deshpande. I really see him as one of the light bearers or torch bearers for the cause of dementia and elderly care. And it does not come from a very shallow words. I actually mean that, Harshad. So please take that compliment because we have been interacting for the past 1 year or so. So Harshad has been I think he has started this brand called Madhur Bhav, which was, if I'm not mistaken, was the brainchild of his mother. Okay, Harshad, you are please welcome to correct me. Okay, which was basically in taking care of elderly care and dementia care people, and from a very humble startup, now they have moved into they started their third center in Pune, which is very encouraging because till the time we don't have genuine people and people with the heart, business is one aspect of it, because obviously if you're not sustainable you'll not be able to continue for too long. But business with a heart, or I'll not call it CSR also, because CSR probably can be very cliche, but people who are really concerned about the elderly and trying to do something for elderly. And I think that is where Harshad and I connected, and it's such an honor to have him here for this particular the global experts interview. And I genuinely feel that he is committed at a global level, which is a learning for all of us, and there's a lot of learning which we look forward in the thing. So Harshad, welcome to the thing, to the session, and genuinely thank you, and it's an honor to have you on board.
Yeah. So thank you for inviting me to this session. It has been a privilege to work with Pankaj for all of these years, for the past year. So basically, I just come to the story of it as to why we formed Madhur Bhav, how am I into the picture, and so on and so forth. So about 20 years ago, my mother was struggling to take care of her father, who had dementia, who had a wound in her leg, and somewhere she realized and noticed that her father did not live a dignified life. His end days weren't as great as what should have been. She did reach out to a lot of centers that time, as they are typically called as old age homes, and none of them wanted to keep or on board seniors who had certain medical elements. सब ठीक ठाक है, सब कुछ सही है, वैसे ही लोग उनको चाहिए थे जो they were not willing to onboard. And this is something where my mom saw a gap, and that is why she formed Madhur Bhav about 13 years ago. Madhur Bhav is named after my grandfather, whose name was Madhukar Bhave. So Madhur came from the word sweet, and Bhav came in as an emotion. So that's how we came into picture.
Beautiful combination.
Yes. And initially in the days, we were into very small establishments. It was a small bungalow, and we didn't know much as to what exactly was to be done. ट्रैकेस्टोमी लेके कोई आया है और हम लोग बोल रहे हैं कि हाँ नर्स है संभाल लेंगे, और फिर वो डॉक्टर से वी वुड गेट द नॉलेज फ्रॉम द डॉक्टर एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. उस तरीके से हम लोग चालू हुए. So starting from a small bungalow where we had challenges where bungalows would have limited washrooms in the bedrooms. From that to now, not 3 but 4 centers where we are now focusing on different lifestyles. So एक तो है assisted living जहाँ पे typical assisted living scenario, घर पे संभालने को issues हो रहे हैं, caregivers time पे नहीं आ रहे, these are the problems, followed by dementia, and now we are catering to palliative care as well. So
Excellent.
yeah, so we have two centers that wherein we have different wards. जिस तरीके से ICU रहता है, there are beds along. So whenever you are in Pune, Pankaj, we will have your visit there. So typically, we don't call it ICU because of medico legal issues, but it's like an observation room जहाँ पे we need people who need a lot of medical support. उस तरीके से लोग वहाँ पे है. We have the apart, leaving aside the ventilator, we have almost everything inside that room. Now, why did I join Madhurba? So I had completed my MBA in 2012 and was on my own journey, and सीनियर लिविंग का कोई दिमाग में नहीं था. एमबीए करके कोई उस टाइम तो सोचता नहीं था. आई वॉज इन टू कंसल्टिंग. आई वॉन्टेड टू मूव आउटसाइड इंडिया. टिपिकल आपको पता है, रोड्स खराब, क्लीन वाटर का इशू, क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ अपना है वैसा ही है. तो वहां से बाहर जाके wanted to live abroad. And one fine day, COVID struck to everyone. Everyone was in the house. I was in the house. My mother was managing the whole show all by herself. If you remember, police were not allowing people to move outside. लाठी चार्ज था लोगों के ऊपर. तो वैसा ना हो इसलिए my mother, we have an ambulance at Madhurba, so my mother would travel in the ambulance to go and buy groceries. So I saw all of that, right? And I'm sitting in front of the computer working, discussing big things with the client, global clients. और फिर मेरे को समझ में आया कि यार मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ. मतलब we are trying to solve world problems sitting in India, and my mother, she's traveling in an ambulance, just trying to get groceries. So कुछ ठीक नहीं लगा मुझे. And so I asked my mother if you need help. That time I was not married in COVID. And typical Indian household में रहता है यार, शादी कर ले फिर तेरे को जो करना है वो कर ले, अभी नौकरी है, सब सही चल रहा है. तो that is how my mom saw the situation. And one fine day, through one of the marriage portals, I came across my wife. That time would be wife. तो उससे मैंने बात की कि see, this is what my mother does and I want to join this mission along with her. And all of it comes from my grandfather, and we always see in the house कि सब दादा, our grandfather is watching us. कोई भी सीनियर केयर में आज के तारीख में आपको पता है कितने चैलेंजेस है, बहुत बड़े बड़े चैलेंजेस है. तो एंड कभी भी ऐसा आता है तो वी ऑलवेज से ही इज देयर, ही इज लाइक गॉड टू अस नाउ. तो उस तरीके से दैट्स व्हाट मोटिवेट्स अस. Thankfully my wife agreed कि ठीक है, you can work in this. So she has been a very strong support to me along with this, क्योंकि आपको पता है यंगस्टर्स टिपिकली व्हेन गेटिंग मैरिड क्या कर रहे हो, क्या करना है आगे जाके, यार सीनियर केयर में काम करना है, अरे ओल्ड एज होम रहता है क्या, उसमें क्या काम करेगा, क्या पैसा कमाएगा, वो सब उसने कुछ पूछा नहीं मेरे को. शी वाज लाइक हाँ ठीक है तेरे को करना है तो कर ले, आई हैव माय ओन जॉब, आई एम गोइंग टू डू माइन. तो इस तरीके से मैंने 21 स्टार्ट ऑफ 21 में मधुरभाव ज्वाइन किया. एंड देन when I joined initially, जो एक आउटसाइडर रहता है, ही इज थिंकिंग ऑन टॉप ऑफ द वर्ल्ड कि हम लोग ये करेंगे, हम लोग वो करेंगे, डायपर चेंज करना है. तो जैसे फ्लाइट थॉट प्रोसेस ये था कि जैसे फ्लाइट में वो जो कार्ट बनता है वैसे कार्ट में हर जगह डायपर चला जाएगा, वहां से वो चेंज करेंगे. इस तरीके से वो पे था, मैं उस सोच में था. But when it actually came down to working on the ground with caregivers, it is a much different situation. I think we will come to it as we speak more.
Yeah,
Brilliant, yeah,
no,
brilliant.
I think it's a very inspiring journey, Harshit, and especially your mom's, the way she perceived the need of the hour. Because one thing is we talk about dementia as a condition which affects the individual, but not only the individual, but the whole system around it, the family around it. So I think getting affected by it, I think, was probably the biggest inspiration for her. And I love the way, with so much dedication and so much heart, you guys are doing what you're doing. So I think that really touches the chord here, and it's beautiful, Harshit, to hear about it. So since we are on the topic of dementia and we're thinking about dementia care homes, how do you think, or how do you see a dementia care home being different from a regular assisted living facility? So assisted living you are doing in a section, right? So how they are different? What do you think about it? Or what are your opinions about it?
Okay. So, dementia as a term that way is quite a wide spectrum. Uh, there are people who just might have forgetfulness for just for food. There might be some people who might have forgetful, maybe towards their family members as well, that, I don't remember this family member or something like that. And then the extreme ones where we have seniors throwing in soiled diapers here and there, and then my team members have to clean up the space. That is the extreme end of it. We need to focus more on the cognitive skills of the senior patients who are going through dementia. So we have to engage them into various activities. May it be, जैसे my wife comes in, and my wife looks after the kitchen at Madhurva. So जो लीफी वेजिटेबल्स को अलग अलग करना होता है ना, तो वो उस
Yeah.
एक्टिविटी में हम लोग सीनियर्स विद डिमेंशिया उनको हम लोग एंगेज करते हैं, not with the intention of getting work done,
Beautiful, yeah,
but
beautiful,
getting
beautiful.
getting them involved into, क्या होता है ना, असिस्टेड लिविंग में अगर हम लोग ये सोचेंगे ना, तो आपको सीनियर्स की मेंटेलिटी पता है, बोलेंगे इनके पास स्टाफ कम है इसलिए हम लोग से काम करवा रहे हैं. But when it comes to dementia, it would be a fact where, we are actually engaged, focus एक जगह पे आ रहा है. वैसे अलग अलग
Yeah,
एक्टिविटीज रहते हैं, उसमें हम लोग उनको एंगेज करते हैं. So that is the key primary point that differentiates the two different lifestyles.
yeah, that's beautiful, Harshad. And I also recommend personally, that some activities which are meaningful to them, are engaging, are something that puts them in a very good space. So they also feel that they are useful to the household, whichever place they are in. When they may or may not be able to recognize the people, but then they feel useful. They feel that, especially the old ladies who have been doing kitchen work and household work all their life, so they especially feel very beautiful with this kind of a thing, that they feel that they are contributing some way to the whole thing. So I think that's very beautiful way of looking at it, how we differentiate the assisted living and the dementia care with the term in terms of engagement that we're looking at. Uh, when we're talking about especially care with dignity that you felt personally or your mom felt in that moment that your grandfather couldn't get, that there wasn't this. So what is a guiding principle that you work with, especially people with not only with dementia but in general assisted living also, that you feel a lot of people are forgetting these days but should be a regular practice, especially when we talk about giving somebody care with dignity? What do you think about it, Harshad?
So biggest challenge in giving care is I am not doing it myself. I have to get it done through the caregivers. So that itself is the first challenge that we have. एक तो caregiver procure करो. On top of that, nobody wants to, change diapers. Nobody wants to bathe seniors. Now, how do we care? How do we create that compassion within the caregiver? That is where all of the magic sauce lies. Uh, so typically, having that one-to-one connect, letting the caregiver understand, अगर एक senior है, that senior is a mother of someone. She might be a mother of, like, you have to relate to your own mother, और इस हिसाब से आपको उनके साथ बर्ताव करना है. We also tell them that this is what is God's work, right? इसके अलावा क्या है, हम लोग मंदिर में जाते हैं और भगवान के सामने हाथ जोड़ते हैं, और ये लोग इतना अच्छा काम सीनियर्स के लिए कर रहे हैं. सो वी टेल देम दैट दिस इज समथिंग that the society needs, and you are not lesser. कभी भी, even if we have family members coming in making an inquiry about senior care, we do tell them that look, I understand we equally value our caregivers because they are the ones who are taking the care of the seniors. So having our focus on on the caregiver as well. तो उस हिसाब से उस तरीके से अगर कल्चर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में बना रहता है, तो ऑटोमेटिकली दैट सेंस ऑफ कंपैशन ऑटोमेटिकली आ जाता है. You may understand that a lot of time in dementia, seniors might be abusive with the caregiver, or they might say certain things that are not favorable. एक टाइम में मेरा एग्जांपल देता हूँ. एक दिन there were common activities on the floor, and there was one senior who was a little grumpy looking, और वो बहुत सी छिड़के बैठी थी. एंड आई वेंट देयर, शी वाज ऑन द व्हील चेयर. मैं झुक गया, मैंने हाथ पकड़ लिया ऐसे व्हील चेयर पे, बोला दादी क्या हुआ आपको, आप क्यों गुस्सा कर रहे हो? एंड शी स्पैट ऑन मी. तो इमीडिएटली किसी को भी गुस्सा आ सकता है कि यार ये मेरे को क्यों करा. और आपको अगर पता है कि केयर गिवर टिपिकल मेंटालिटी का वो टेंशन रहता है कि वो रिटेलिएट ना करे, पर हर सीनियर को, हर हर केयर गिवर को ये बोला गया रहता है कि सीनियर्स कुछ ना कुछ कुछ ना कुछ अलग मैनर में रिएक्ट करेंगे. ये प्रॉब्लम है, इसलिए अपने को यहाँ पे एम्प्लॉयमेंट है. अगर सब ठीक नहीं होता फॉर अ मिनट, व्हाई डू यू थिंक वुड यू बी एम्प्लॉयड एट मधुरबा?
Very true.
ये सब प्रॉब्लम्स है. वी अंडरस्टैंड दीज आर प्रॉब्लम्स. और उस हिसाब से आप अगर व्हेनेवर अ सीनियर गेट्स एंग्री, और पर्टिकुलरली विद डिमेंशिया, हम लोग डिमेंशिया तो एक हाथ दूर ही रहने को बोलते हैं हर केयर गिवर को, बट व्हेनेवर एनीवन गेट्स एंग्री, द ओनली थिंग टू डू इज लीव देम अलोन. जस्ट लीव देम अलोन. जो करना है वो करने दीजिए उनको. तो उस हिसाब से अगर जब केयर गिवर को ट्रेनिंग दिया हुआ है, तो ऑब्वियसली डिग्निफाइड लिविंग वहां पे आ ही जाता है कि उस हिसाब से
Right.
उनको रिस्पेक्टफुली ट्रीट करते हैं. एंड ऑफ कोर्स सेम ऑल ऑफ दिस इज गिवन टू द नर्सेज एज वेल. सो कोई भी छोटी सी अगर भी बात हो गई मेडिकली ऑल्सो, the nurses are prompt enough to report to that doctor, and based on the doctor's advice, the line of treatment is changed.
I will give you a real example. My grandfather uh, was staying in almost an 1 acre house, okay, in a reasonably tiny locality of Lucknow. He has 4 children. He landed up with dementia. He stayed with dementia for almost 50, let's say 10 to 12 years. I have seen the domestic people, because in his house, we had 7 of the quarters for domestic people, and they were all staying free. So technically, he was staying alone, but we had 40 odd people staying as family, surviving on him. And he had retired in 80s and a normal basic pension of 700, 800 rupees. When he was staying alone with 4 children, he was still staying alone. And when they used to give him food, the domestic people, they used to throw the plates. That is one. Because I've seen it, that's why I got into this line probably. Second, he stopped recognizing any of the children except for one of them who used to basically remember, Acha, your name is so and so. And he became so aggressive because of the reactions from the domestic help that he used to keep a stick with him. And anyone who used to come close, he used to hit them. He didn't realize that he is doing urine, he is doing stool passing in the chair itself. From that stage to another stage of another uncle of mine who used to come till last year, he used to come to my house and just slip out of the house. And we had no idea. So what you're coming from is like, yes, you have to accept. Obviously, my mother and the daughters I've seen are probably more open to accepting all these flaws or all these issues of a person with dementia. Even if you hit them, they should not mind, because that is what the disease or what the problem is. But the sons
Exactly.
I've seen are not so acceptable.
Also, Pankaj, more than gender roles, of course, this is very closely imbibed in our society. But the more we see this, the fact is that if, like Harshit said very well, if there would not be a problem, why would they be coming in an assisted living or a dementia care home for that matter? And the fact is, to take care of one person with dementia takes a village. It's a fact. Because, like all of you, so my journey also started with a similar thing, whereas my grandma was diagnosed with dementia some 15 years back, uh, rather 20 years back, and she lived a good life of 15 years post diagnosis. And she had one of those longest living dementias, whereas we had some comedy days, some stressful days, and it took a village. We are a joint family of 11 people, and took a village to take care of her, just everybody involved. So I
Very true.
totally understand where Harshit is coming from, and from his care model, actually, this is the most practical way of dealing with the situation, to be very frank. We may give some idealistic models, this is how we should do, this is how dementia should happen, this is how we should remove the triggers, but doesn't happen in the real life, doesn't happen in the practical situation where you have not yourself, but like a secondary caregiver taking care of somebody.
Yeah, I
Because most
agree.
of the care homes
Dementia
or
can't
most of the
happen on.
houses also. Hmm.
You can't find solutions for dementia on ChatGPT or AI. Okay,
that's
and that
that's
is where
that's a
probably
fact.
people like Harshad has to come into the picture and
Hmm.
really take care of humans, because that's something no robot can ever be able to understand this particular algorithms here.
Correct, correct. So, Harshit, now looking at the bigger picture, when we're talking about dementia care, or we are talking about assisted living, what do you think about accessibility and affordability of these services? Where do you see general dementia care homes? Where do they stand in India at this point in time? And what do you think is the numbers we're looking at we need versus the numbers we have? So, what do you think about the whole situation at the bigger level about dementia care homes and general assisted living, also, for that matter?
Okay. So I think the problem itself starts at accepting the fact that your parents has dementia. क्योंकि a lot of people have noticed a lot of things, particularly I would say in a couple, the wife does not want to accept that your father, your husband is going through some issue. नहीं, ज्यादा नहीं भूलते, थोड़ा ही भूलते, इतना नहीं है वो, ऐसा सब दिमाग में फिट किया होता है. सिमिलरली फॉर द पेरेंट एज वेल. एंड अनदर प्रॉब्लम इज कि अगर अपन एक टेस्ट बनाते हैं जिसमें एग्जैक्टली सिमिलर साइंस ऑफ डिमेंशिया है, if someone comes to Madhurbav and we tell them, look, this is the senior, these are the exact signs that your parent has, पर वो एक्सेप्ट करने की भी ताकत नहीं है कि वो दोनों सेम ही है. नहीं नहीं, मेरे वाले इतने अच्छे इतने खराब नहीं है, मेरे को थोड़ा कम ही होता है, इस तरीके का जो एटीट्यूड लोगों में है. सो दैट एक्सेप्टेंस इटसेल्फ इज, आई थिंक दैट इज वेयर द प्रॉब्लम स्टार्ट्स. अगर डिमेंशिया जैसी चीज है, अगर उसको अर्ली अर्ली डिटेक्शन हो और उसके लिए अर्ली सीनियर्स के लिए एंगेजमेंट कर सकते, मे बी वट एवर दे वॉन्ट, मे बी टेयरिंग ऑफ पेपर्स एज वेल, राइट. अगर
Hmm.
उनको योगा पसंद है, अगर उनके साथ लोगों के साथ मिलजुलना पसंद है, अगर वो होता रहेगा अगर शुरू के स्टेजेस में, तो अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स वी विल नोटिस कि जो उनका प्रोग्रेशन घर पे हुआ है, या जो भी मॉडरेट लेवल या हायर लेवल पे केयर सेंटर्स में लिया जाता है या डिमेंशिया सेंटर्स में लेके आते हैं, वो थोड़ा आई थिंक दैट इज समथिंग वेयर वी नीड टू फोकस ऑन. सो दैट इज व्हेन वी कम इनटू एन आइडिया वेयर अवेयरनेस होना बहुत जरूरी है. So, to
Hmm.
give you a definite answer for your question, it is difficult to determine किस तरीके की नीड वांट होगी, क्योंकि एक तो सोसाइटी में एक्सेप्टेंस लेवल इज बिलो अबव अ सर्टेन स्टेटा ओनली. उसके नीचे अगर हम लोग सोचते हैं, हमारे पास कई बार ऑनलाइन डिलीवरी के लिए आते हैं, पोर्टर से लोग आते हैं, उस सिचुएशन में उनको जब समझ में आता है कि ये कैसा है, यहाँ पे सीनियर्स रहते हैं, अरे घर पे क्यों नहीं रहते हैं, वो वाला जो क्लास है, अ, वो उसकी तो अभी सोच भी नहीं है, वेरी ऑनेस्टली. व्हाट वी आर टॉकिंग ऑफ ओनली बिगर सिटीज, जहाँ पे पीपल अंडरस्टैंड, पीपल अफोर्ड, तो आज के तारीख में द बिग प्रॉब्लम दैट वी आर सीइंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ अफोर्डेबिलिटी इज पीपल डू नॉट सो मैं ना उसको महाराष्ट्र में ना वड़ा पाव कंसेप्ट काफी चलता है। तो वड़ा पाव या समोसा जब आपको लेने के लिए जाना है तब आपको समझ में आता है ठेले गाड़ी पे खाऊंगा तो उसका कॉस्ट और टेस्ट क्या होगा और उसका आफ्टर एक्सपीरियंस अगले दिन क्या होगा। और इफ आई गो टू अ हलवाई वाला वो किस प्राइस में देगा उसका क्वालिटी क्या रहेगा और व्हाट इज द टेस्ट आई कैन एक्सपेक्ट ये अपने को सबको पता है। बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू डिमेंशिया केयर और इवन असिस्टेड लिविंग फॉर दैट मैटर पीपल हैव नो आइडिया अबाउट द कॉस्ट। लोग कई बार आते हैं विद द आइडिया कि अरे इतना क्यों लगता है पर व्हेन आई वुड सिट अलोंग विद देम टू अंडरस्टैंड कि आप अगर घर पे रखो तो कितने कॉस्ट आने वाले हैं सो दैट एक्सेप्टेंस पीपल आर नॉट हैविंग। आई सैट डाउन विथ माई फादर इन लॉ इज गोइंग टू टर्न 60। मैंने उनको बोला कि आप अगर मैं आपके लिए एक फैसिलिटी तैयार करूं वी आर नॉट केटरिंग टू 60s राइट नाउ बिकॉज देयर इज नो नीड वो सीनियर लिविंग
Correct.
में आ जाएगा जो अपार्टमेंट्स आर केटरिंग। आई सैट डाउन विथ हिम कि आपको आपको क्या लगता है कितना आपको अगर आपको पैसा देके रहना है कहीं पे सब फैसिलिटीज रहेंगी खाने वाने का टेंशन नहीं लॉन्ड्री ये नहीं। तो इस सैट डाउन उन्होंने इतना थिन गैप में प्राइसिंग लगाया था तो उनका एक्सपेक्टेशन है कि मेरे को सब फैसिलिटीज के साथ 20-22 हजार में मेरा सब होना चाहिए एट 60। तो दिस प्रॉब्लम विथ आई थिंक इसको सिर्फ टाइम ही हील कर सकता है। जितना लोग इसके लिए एक्सपोज होंगे जितना लोग एक्सेप्टेंस मिलेगा कि ओके दिस इज अ प्रॉब्लम आई जस्ट लेट समबडी एल्स हैंडल दिस प्रॉब्लम ये उसको जितना प्रैक्टिकली लोग सोचेंगे नहीं तब तक अफोर्डेबिलिटी जो आज की तारीख में हमारे पास तो काफी बड़ी चैलेंज है। the typical cost if you look at in taking care of a senior from a family perspective is somewhere between 40 to 50,000 a month
It
in
is.
all the in it is all inclusive kind of a model। तो
Correct.
वो भी लोगों को बहुत ज्यादा लगता है एंड अगेन इफ दे आर नॉट पेइंग इनफ ऑब्वियसली केयर गिवर्स फ्लोर पे कम रहेंगे केयर गिवर्स को ट्रेनिंग नहीं दिया जाएगा। हाउसकीपिंग में एक हाथ दो बंदा आ रहे नहीं ना हाउसकीपिंग में एक कम है ना तो उसको निकाल दे जान दे उसको कुछ और फंक्शन में लगा दे ये सब चीजें फिर बैकएंड में चालू होती है। सो आई थिंक द ओनली सोल्यूशन टू दिस राइट नाउ इज जितना टाइम हम लोग इसमें बिताएंगे जितने लोगों को नीड आएगी सैड सैड टू से वन पार्ट की गवर्नमेंट इसमें कुछ कर नहीं रहा है द काइंड ऑफ सपोर्ट दैट द गवर्नमेंट शुड बी गिविंग बिकॉज क्या होता है 140 करोड़ में बहुत छोटा डेमोग्राफिक है वो भी सिटीज में है। लोग क्या है पैसा खर्चा करेंगे 18% जीएसटी भी देंगे तो गवर्नमेंट का थोड़ा फोकस इसमें होना
Don't
जरूरी
tell
है इज व्हाट आई
me,
फील।
Harshad, do dementia care homes pay 18% GST?
Yeah.
यस 18% जीएसटी ऑन
Wow.
असिस्टेड लिविंग।
And how on earth is it okay? How on earth something which is not a luxury, which is necessity maybe for couples who have maybe a small house, a child to take care of, and has a parent with dementia that they cannot take care of because both husband and wife are working, and it's a need for them. How on such a need we can put 18% GST? I'm amazed.
No, that is where the the issue is which the industry has been fighting. But probably what happens is whenever these policies or these formulas are created, in my opinion, they don't see themselves as getting old. Number one, they don't see themselves as being from the middle class. For
Correct.
their the assumption is that today, if a person is willing to pay 70,000 rupees, he can pay another 18% extra also. It doesn't happen that way. Because today, a person who's paying, let's say, 50, 70,000, 70,000, 80,000 rupees, who doesn't have a pension, he's actually paying it through after arranging a lot of money from somewhere or the other. Not
Correct.
everyone is a businessman. Okay. And when you have dementia and as a family, you're trying to make contribute to the parents' welfare, that 18% makes a lot of difference. And that is where these kind of sessions, which is the next level, which Harshad also knows, we're going to take it up. Okay, there are a lot of other agencies who have been trying to do it. but till the time you don't show the mirror to the policy makers themselves, it will not happen. Just writing letters will not happen. Just by having conferences will not happen. So it has to, you have to drive home the point with a very, very strong entrance and say कि बॉस ये शोले है, अब आपको ये शोले पसंद है कि नहीं है, because one of them is going to be Amitabh Bachchan and one of them will become Dharmendra. Okay. So it's a good and a bad thing. So yes, it is a matter. And probably I think, Harshad, what you are saying is exactly, and that is what we was very important, and we wanted to have you on the session from the practical aspects of it. Ki these, it's very easy to talk about 1.5 to 2 lakh rupees a month kind of homes. I know three of my friends who have probably spent 3-4 crore rupees in the past 4-5 years on some of the care homes in Gurgaon. But how many of us in the country can afford that? I will not even call us. I will call them rather than that. It's not easy. So where it has to go down to the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities, you can't talk about 1 lakh rupees and above. It has to be in that 25-30,000 rupees maximum range. And which no service operator provider can afford, to be very honest, even today, even whether it is villages level or the this thing, because the minimum wages act itself, whether it is Delhi or anything, today Delhi's minimum wages act is 23,000 rupees. How do you ensure that these services are taken care at the grassroots level? So somewhere or the other, the government will have to step in, or the ministries of different ministries or the budget for social welfare have to step in and then create the combined effort.
Yeah, totally agree, Pankaj. So, going on a different tangent here, especially on this day of Teachers' Day, that we all are here and we're very grateful for the teachers. We are what we are thanks to them. So my question to you would be, Harshad, that since it's so close to Teachers' Day, and we wanted to ask you something about how seniors and caregiving is often the greatest teacher we all have received, because we all come from a background where, you know, we find us learning from our experiences first and then eventually getting into a professional side of it and then working ahead, you know. So the same question would go to you, Pankaj, as well. As a person, as an individual, why do you think, this, especially the seniors and the caregiving has taught you? That is one thing to me. And what is the biggest life lesson you have learned, especially it goes to Harshad, in dementia caregiving? What is the biggest life lesson that you have learned? So that would be my question.
Let's hear it from
To
Harshad
start
first.
off with,
Yes,
okay,
yes,
okay,
Harshad, let's go ahead, please.
okay. I will start off with my favorites, the caregivers. जो caregiver हमारे पास रहते हैं, they are from the tribal areas, and typically had seen a caregiver who was very sad, sitting in the corner. I went to sat down. What is it? What is the problem? बिकॉज जो केयर होम्स में मॉडल चलता है ज्यादातर इज वेयर हाउसिंग एंड अकोमोडेशन इज आल्सो प्रोवाइडेड बाय द केयर गिवर्स. आई थिंक दिस हैपेंस इन हॉस्पिटल्स आल्सो. इट्स जस्ट दैट हॉस्पिटल्स गिव अ सेपरेट हॉस्टल आउटसाइड द हॉस्पिटल. यहाँ पे हमारे पास में ही अलग से रूम्स रहते हैं, तो वहाँ पे केयर गिवर्स रहते हैं. देयर फूड इज आल्सो गिवन, टेकन केयर ऑफ. सो वट एवर सैलरी दे अर्न directly goes into their pockets. So I think considering this, it's a good fact we are taking care of minimum wages as well. So otherwise अगर कंस्ट्रक्शन या किसी में जाओ तो उतना पैसा भी नहीं मिलता है. So with that being said, the senior, the caregiver was upset. I went to the caregiver, क्या हो गया, क्यों इतना ऐसा मुंह क्यों बना के बैठा है? तो उसने बोला कि घर पे पिताजी है जो ड्रिंक करते हैं और मम्मी को मारते हैं. मम्मी को आज कल उन्होंने बहुत मारा. मम्मी का मुझे फोन आया था. एंड देन ही हैड अ सिस्टर इन द हाउस हु वाज आल्सो बीटन बाय द ड्रंक फादर. तो ये चीज है ना, हम लोग बहुत रोज के टाइम में ना भूल जाते हैं कि इस तरीके का भी अब्यूज होता है घर पे. तो केयर गिवर की मेंटालिटी से हम लोग सोच रहे हैं कि यार इतना उसको पैसा भी दे रहे हैं, उसको क्या है, वो यहाँ पे ऐश कर रहा है, मस्त काम कर रहा है, रहना खाना भी हम लोग को जो सीनियर्स खा रहे हैं वही ये भी खा रहा है, उसको क्या लाइफ में प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है। पर उसके बिहाइंड इतना सारा सॉरो है, ना एजुकेशन मिला है, ट्राइबल एरियाज में एम्प्लॉयमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज नहीं है, वो सिर्फ खेती बाड़ी करते हैं। उसमें भी जो भी पैसा बनता है एट द एंड ऑफ द डे दैट इज बीइंग स्पेंट ऑन द लिकर। तो वो कहीं ना हम लोग ये चीज भूल जाते हैं कि इस तरीके भी बैकग्राउंड से केयर गिवर्स आते हैं। मेजोरिटी ऑफ द वुमेन दैट लोकली वर्क विद अस आर अब्यूज्ड वुमेन। उनके पति ने उनको छोड़ा रहता है, दे आर स्टेइंग समवेयर इन द स्लम्स, और दे हैव एन अब्यूजिव हस्बैंड। यही कहानी है मेजोरिटी ऑफ द केयर गिवर्स, एटलीस्ट जो मैंने देखा। आई थिंक पंकज यू कैन करेक्ट मी, अक्रॉस इंडिया आई
I
थिंक
agree.
दैट
I
इज प्रीटी
agree.
मच द सिमिलर सिमिलर लैंडस्केप है। सो ये चीज है ना, हम लोग आई थिंक दैट कीप्स मी ग्राउंडेड केयर गिवर्स के साथ, कि इस तरीके का भी लाइफस्टाइल है। आई थिंक एंड कंसिडरिंग वेयर वी बिलोंग राइट नाउ, आई थिंक वी आर इन अ मच बेटर सिचुएशन। So that is something that I've learned from the caregivers to be grounded. Secondly, सीनियर्स से मैंने क्या सीखा, एक तो वाइजनेस हर सीनियर में है ही। सो दैट इज अ कॉमन थिंग दैट स्टीरियोटिपिकल, वो मैं आंसर नहीं दूंगा। पर एक बार एक सीनियर है, ही वाज एन आर्किटेक्ट बैक इन हिज टाइम। ही केम टू मी एंड टोल्ड मी कि मेरे को ना इलेक्ट्रिक शेवर खरीदना है। ही इज 86 years old। तो मैं सोचा कि यार केयर गिवर करके देता है, आपको काय को खरीदी करने का है, फालतू में काय को पैसा खर्चा कर रहे हो। तो मैं उस थॉट प्रोसेस में मैं था। तो अमेजोन पे खुद वो ही समवन हु ऑर्डर्स फूड फ्रॉम जोमेटो एज वेल एट द एज ऑफ 86। हम लोग बोलते हैं कि वो मैदा मत खाओ, पिज्जा मत खाओ, वो अगले दिन कॉन्स्टिपेशन होता है। तो तभी वो सुनते नहीं है, वो फिर डॉक्टर हमारे पास आके बोलते हैं यार ये ऐसा ऐसा प्रॉब्लम है, फिर हेल्थ पे अफेक्ट कर रहा है। बट अल्टीमेटली वी आर अबाउट यार आप खुश हो ना, बस पिज्जा खाना है कम खाओ, बस उतना ही एक्सपेक्टेशन है। तो ही केम इन विद द Amazon on his phone saying, I want to buy this shaver। तो मैंने बोला कि यूजुअली गुड ब्रांड्स का खरीद लो आप। दो 1,500 2,000 के आसपास अच्छी ब्रांड का आता है, लंबा चलेगा। तो उन्होंने मेरे को बोला कि अरे ये 700 रुपए का आ रहा है, सम XYZ ब्रांड, शायद से कोई लो क्वालिटी का था। तो बोला क्यों खरीद रहे हो, ये अपने को अच्छा भी चले ना वो। तो ही टोल्ड मी दैट मैंने लाइफ आई स्पेंट माई लाइफ अर्निंग मनी to spend with my so that I could spend a lot of time with my wife. My wife is no longer with me. He lost his life. He lost his wife in COVID। अभी मेरे पास पैसा जो कुछ काम का नहीं है। तो डेली हसल में लोग, आप बड़े सिटीज में देखो, पूरी भागदौड़ चालू है। लोग ट्राइंग टू लिव अ लिविंग, ट्राइंग टू सेटिस्फाई देयर वांट्स। इसमें कहीं ना कहीं वी फॉरगेट टू लिव life along with your family members, sitting down maybe with your wife, my mother, saying, how do you feel today, living in the moment। ये हम लोग भूल जाते हैं। दिस पर्सन डिड द सेम थिंग, लाइफ में इतना स्ट्रगल किया, अभी आज के तारीख में ही इज विदाउट द वाइफ एंड ही इज लाइक पैसा है जाने दो, खराब हो गया रेजर तो भी चलेगा, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। सो दिस
No,
इज द लर्निंग दैट आई गॉट फ्रॉम सीन।
Very
I totally.
emotional. Thanks, Harshad, for sharing. It's very emotional to feel actually, and it's true, we all are running behind so many things in life and forgotten the. I think this is what even my takeaway is from any senior that I meet. Everybody's life is so much learning. And at this age, if we can inculcate, let's say, even 1% of it into our private lives, I and in our daily practices. For me, it's my work, which is same as my life. No, if we can do even 1% of it, I feel it will be very beautiful. Thanks for sharing that, Harshit.
No, no,
Pankaj,
I'll totally probably, as a concluding thing, I'll just like to add, Harshad, when you gave about this story about the caregivers, firstly, let me tell you, your father maybe is becoming 60. I'm 55 plus, 55 almost myself, going to be. So we can understand that particular aspect, number one. Second is these kind of caregivers, I resonate with them and actually understand because when I was in Pune, I was staying in a slum, to be very honest. For 4 months, I stayed in a slum just eating vada pav and anda bread omelette and anda burji. And my roommates, I used to share a bathroom with the guys who sell agarbattis on the road and do the tire punctures and sells jadu pocha on the roads. For 4 months, I shared a bathroom with almost 10, 12 people. And every night after 11 o'clock, and my room was what? My room was a kitchen, to be very frank, in that bungalow. And every night at 11 o'clock, there used to be a major fight going on. And I used to wonder, after this first night, I understood, I didn't realize suddenly what is this noise? All these people, when they come back after selling jadu pocha and all selling brooms and this and that and all that stuff, they get drunk and they come back and they start beating their wives. So your caregivers actually come from the place where I was staying. And not for overnight. I was staying there for 4 months. So yes, there is a lot of abuse which happens for women. That is one. But unfortunately or fortunately, that is a segment where these kind of people come in from for caregiving. And answering to Dr. Mrigna's question is, I personally feel that anyone who's associated with this field of elderly care or this any kind of field of caregiving, I would say, whether it is children care or elderly care or any kind of care, there is back of the mind, there is a certain element of a spirituality involved in it. We feel there is a certain higher cause, or probably there is some kind of fire which is not into that, which makes us move to or try to do that particular work. So with that, Mrigna, that is what I would like to conclude at it. But yes, it and all of us, when you said now keep grounded, that reminded me of being grounded. Is when you stay in the slums in the country, uh, it actually makes you very grounded. Yeah.
Very, very heart-touching story, Pankaj. And I think you're very correct. I think practically living that day to day, understanding from where they come from. So that's a sympathy is not enough here. We need to empathize and, with all the love that we can. Clearly, that dementia care home, as we've spoken to you, isn't just about the shelter or the food. It is also about the fact that compassion, dignity, and creating a safe space where families can also find a relief is very important. And to all our listeners, all our viewers who would be listening to this podcast in the future, if you're caring for your loved one with dementia, just remember that you are not alone. So in communities like Madhur Bhav or other communities around, you will find some kind of a support. And this is what finding the support, and so that the senior can live whatever life they have with full dignity, full of love. Like Harshad gave us a very beautiful example. ठीक है, you eating pizza, you'll have constipation, it's fine. Just eat a little less. But live your life. Be happy. That's more important.
Mrigna,
And
I'll
this
give
is
you a
what
real
I,
example just to interpret.
yeah, yeah,
Interfere here. My father is 87.
yeah.
Yesterday, yesterday, I believe in one thing because I've seen so much of these things. I said, none of these people in the old age homes or the care homes, they want to eat boiled eggs or boiled vegetables. Calcutta, if you go, they want to eat luchi and aloo bhaji and fish and this. I tell my father one thing. What do you want to eat? I want to have chola
Hmm.
bhatura. And I go, okay, done. It's there. So for the past 3 days I've been here, he's been having a party here. And at 87, the chola bhatura to this pakoda to that stuff, might as well enjoy it, yeah. I'm not saying
Yeah,
go
very
overboard.
true.
That we keep a check, okay. But
Correct.
a human body will accept only whatever you feel like eating.
So, Pankaj, I totally agree with you. We also do it with our seniors, that we do home care for. So, there is one of our seniors. She's going to be 88 this year. She's going to be 88. And she's with Parkinson's and lost most of the mobility. But I have known her, like, we have been working with the family for last 12 years now, almost. and have known her for so much time. So I've known her from the days she was fine, she was all active. So she was a typical Delhi auntie who would go out, eat golgappas, and those dal vadas would be her favorite. And now that she's uh, almost bedridden, sometimes I do that. So sometimes I just like visit her and sneak in a little dal vada with that chutney for her. And I feel that is what makes all the difference. That is what makes all the
No,
difference.
no, I'm telling
That
you, it's exactly the same thing I'm telling you is to both of you, because both of you are service providers, and I'm sure Rajiv, who is a participant here, will agree. Uh, Mrigna, you won't believe the kind of happiness they will find or they get in eating the food they love. Because some dietitian and some doctor has said, no, you should not eat it because it is not good for your cholesterol. अरे खाने दो. हिंदी में हिंदी में they say अगर खाना पसंद है तो वो खाना जमता है. Otherwise, it will reject.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I think this is another aspect of it. If this is another aspect.
Harshad, thank you very much
Thank you.
for coming on
Thank
board, and really, really appreciate the work you are doing and the insights which you have. And just as a quick summary or quick inputs from you, we just love to hear your last statement from you for this session.
Sure. The important part of your life, and keeping them in a facility that provides assisted care or dementia is a perfect possible solution. They might get angry at you, they might yell at you. It's not their own problem. They are going through a mental situation. Accept that, and take medical advice, take psychiatric neurologist advice, and make sure you're doing the right thing for the senior instead of keeping them in the house, getting mad at them, yelling at them if they yell at you. Don't do that. Keeping your doing what is best for your senior should be your priority.
Brilliant, brilliant. I think that is very important. And thank you once again for coming on board. And thank you,
You.
Dr. Mrigna, for the session. And with that, I think let's close the session here. God bless.
Yes,
Thank
thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
So thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for joining us, for listening to
Thank
us
you.
live here, and also on the recordings that you will be hearing in the future. And for until next time we meet, stay healthy, stay compassionate, stay kind to each other. Thank you so much.